All right, I just want to make a quick video this morning and show you the process of, well, actually it's not a process, I can't actually show you the process because it's too long, too complicated, but what's involved into making these wiring looms. There are two different ways and there are a few complications when it comes to 1.8. I'll get to that in a second. So initially I say that we're gonna make kind of instructions video or release the pinouts and all the stuff you have to do to connect the wiring looms from the 1.8 to the MR2. And that's something very simple. And it's supposed to be very simple. Well, first of all, I've done it because I don't actually enjoy making wiring looms unless it's on my terms. And you know, it was difficult to find the way that I actually enjoy doing it because I wanted the proper way and make enough profit to make it worth it for the business. So we said, okay, I'm not gonna do it because it takes too much time. But eventually, playing with them and doing more stuff, I found a kind of way to do it the proper way, the way I'm happy with. So, and I think we can offer them at the reasonable price, the fair price, I think, for both us and customers. So far, it looks like it's too cheap because the moment we say that the orders went through the roof. So we should have much more, but now they stay the same. Don't worry, we always trying to be fair. So, what is the problem with 1.8 wiring looms and the issues you will occur if I just give you the instructions? First of all is because these engines have been fitted to many different cars. There are some of the wiring looms that pretty much cannot be modified. Well, it could be modified, but it will take so much hassle, so much trouble that it's really not worth it. And one of them, well, actually that one, they came from longitudinal mounted engines. So all Passats, all Audis, when you have the wiring loom going kind of like alongside the bulkhead where the windscreen is, and that long section is about 50-60 centimeters, is kind of fused into kind of rubber resin stuff, which it's horrible stuff. It's horrible, and it's just we don't want to deal with that. So you have to get the wiring looms from transversal mounted engines. But even then, there's so many different ones. You have Skodas, you have Volkswagens, you have Audis, A3s, Golfs, a lot of different stuff. And even within one spec of the castle Golf, they have different variations. So it's almost, I'm not saying endless, but there's so many different types. So let me just show you quickly. Well, let's say that you start with something like this, right? This is, let me just move this here. This is what you start with. You have your engine loom, you have your body loom, you have your ECU, your connectors, your plugs. Sometimes you have something like this, which is not great. In that case, it's fine because that is a part of the body loom that we're not using, so that's fine. But I've seen this happen many times. Also, what you have. Also, besides this is only half of what you need. The other half is a Toyota side, and this is what's left from the Toyota side that we're not using, but you still have to strip it down and take what's needed. So yeah, you got this and that, and you have to strip them completely, and this is what's left, this is what's left. And essentially, when you take them down and start rebuilding the stuff, it should look kind of like this is the way I do it. So we remove obviously what's not necessary or what's not needed on the engine or the own engines. And the beauty of the 1.8 is you can remove so much crap that was attached to the engine. Is unbelievable. It makes these engines really shine and look nice and simple, the way they should be. So I just attach everything, put the sensors in the right place. Obviously we add some of the sensors, so it will have to be customized. Like for example the sensors on the temperature sensor, they change. We use two of the wires for something else. We lie down everything in the right space, in the right order. Then me. I wish I had help with this, but no, it's all me, unfortunately, on this one. And then obviously lay down all the correct I can say it, distances, because you have a bulkhead which is roughly here, then you have the ECU which is roughly here, then you have your body plugs which is again in a different place, you have earths with a different place, so everything has too much. This is pretty much kind of like mixed between building a race engine or race spec wiring loom, but out of the original stuff. So, but it's not just strip it down and and remove a couple of beads, add a couple of beads, and put the insulation back on. It's completely not. It's I'm removing loads of stuff out of the ECU. I'm adding loads of stuff to the engine and to the ECU. We add in different management because obviously is the Toyota body that has to control all of this, so adds complications. But instead of adding complications, we're removing everything, so everything is as simple as possible. Then we add the necessary stuff, so it's completely different than what you get now. There is a way to make it kind of I say it dirty, just lay down the wiring loom and connect from the plugs whatever you need to make this work. And we had that before. I've done it before and it works. I'm not saying no, but if something happens, it's difficult to diagnose the issue. It's ugly because the wiring loom is something that it has to be at least all right, because if not, it's just Steve, for example, where his wiring loom has two different modes. We've done it once, and then we've done it. Then he done it again to tidy up. But then he was like, "This is still crap. Much different. Much not as it should be." So he took it out, sliced it down yesterday. He was there for hours because it takes you a long time just to get the wirings to this. Actually, show you to this state. It took him 2-3 hours. I don't know how long exactly, but it took him a long time just to get this pile of spaghettis. And remember, this is already been selected. This is only what we're actually using on the engine. And so probably half of the stuff has been removed from the original wiring looms, from the Volkswagen, because that's two-part wiring loom, and the Toyota stuff. And from this now, I have to build a race kind of looking like wiring loom. It's not a race spec stuff, because race spec stuff, the proper race spec stuff uses different wires, expensive stuff, different connectors. But that being said, I can tell you something, the Volkswagen stuff, Toyota, not so much, but Volkswagen stuff is solid, is good stuff. Starting from the plugs on the ECUs, from the pins, the ease of it, the fact that they are waterproof, is the quality is good. The quality of the wires themselves, they're very good. So I'm happy with that. I can actually do it. I can actually do it proper, and that's why I decided to actually make them. However, every wiring loom, either we buy them and modify them and sell them for the customer who buys obviously the conversions, or when the customers send us the wiring loom. This one, for example, comes from Scotland, and I was pleased to see that everything was complete. There was everything on it. The guy actually left the sensors plugged into the plugs. Unnecessary, but I appreciate the gesture. He's like, I prefer more than not enough. But also, for example, you have stuff like this. These are the wires for the map sensor, and the map sensor plug has been ripped off. Now the problem is I ran out of the map sensor plugs, because again, they are in different places in different vehicles. And sometimes people, when pull the engines out, wires like this, when you pull the engine with a crane, you don't even feel where that plug is gonna snap or rip the wires off like this. So, it's very easy that the wiring loom is at some point somehow damaged, no matter what. I still have to come across 100% healthy one that all the plugs are actually connected, no cuts, no wires being stripped off or cutted or anything. So, also, this is another thing. This wiring loom has been already sorted out, but is it very much a different layout of sensors, map sensor, recirculation valves, and they use the same pinout on the ECUs, but the positions of them are different. And also the plugs. For example, this is a plug for the engine temperature sensor, not engine temperature sensor, sorry, the air intake temperature sensor. You see, this plug will never fit into this. Is a different setup. It should be like one of these. Again, not a big deal, but now you have to use the sensor for this plug, or change the plug for that sensor. Obviously I'm going to use it because the customer has the engine with this sensor, so leave it there. But there's all these things that you have to account for. So it's not just the simplicity of cutting off a few wires. It literally is rebuilding the whole wiring room, and it's not just a matter of stripping it down, remove a couple of wires and put it down. It's not. You strip it down, strip down the Toyota wiring loom, combine them together in the right place, in the right order, changing other things, because other things have changed, to make it work correctly. Because we've done this is probably like fourth evolution and of the wiring loom, and now it's just getting tidier and cleaner. And the way I do it, I just remove everything, like you see, from the ECU itself to each sensor, and everything has to have a correct length, and etc, etc. So this one here actually is beautiful because it's literally gonna be plug and play, which looks like this when it's ended. So you have your OBD port, your body plugs, they literally plug into your standard position. Then you have the two ECU plugs. One of the plugs only used one wire. This one is crucial. This uses a lot. Then you have the plug for your throttle body. For your throttle gas, for the pedal gas. Then is extension, because again, engine is on the back, but the pedal is in the front. And then obviously there is 1, 2, 3, and 4, because this is earth. 4 wires that you actually have to connect to your A plug on the ECUs. This is the Toyota ECU. So this one is pretty much not used. We're using this one primarily, and this very little. And this is how Toyota actually classify these plugs. It's not number 1 or number 2. It's A, B, C, and D going from the top. The way it's mounted on the chassis. So again, I'm trying to make it as simple as possible. I don't think this could be any simpler. But yeah, just to let you know, this is not just changing a couple of wires or remove a couple of wires from the plugs. It's much more complex than that. So yeah, heads up. But anyways, they are going out. This one is going to be finished this morning. Well, let's say lunchtime, or maybe afternoon. Then I have to make another one. I'm gonna start it today, finish it tomorrow, and tomorrow afternoon I'm hoping to crack on the Steve's wiring loom, because all we need now in this is the thing, it escalates, because we made the engine loom looking better with these nice boost pipes and the intakes and everything. It's cleaner, so Steve was like, you know what, I need to make it better as well. So improving the fuel system, with a massive sweep pod inside, proper fuel pumps, everything nice and neat, cleaner. And we were like, well, you know what, this will be a shame to put the old wiring loom, because it was kind of like a half prototype, tidy up, but still, not as it should be. So yeah, we do it from scratch, well, almost from scratch, proper, like this stuff. Anyways, that's it. That's all I wanted to say, just to show you the way it works. And also, again, this is every time, every wiring loom not only has to be obviously done, but obviously we have to check every time we're checking with the pinouts if everything is okay, if I'm not making a mistake, because again, some of the plugs, like I said, they have different positions, but also there are different kind of plugs, because those sensors changes between the different models of cars and the years. So sometimes it can be confusing. Like this, for example, I knew this was a map sensor, 3 wires, I recognize the colors, but are you 100% sure? Well, it was a completely different position. No plug attached, just the wires. And can I really guess just by the number of the wires going in the plug and the colors? We know the colors change. So no, I had to trace it back to the ECU, check the pinouts, and make sure they are correct of what I'm thinking. So there you go. Yeah, sometimes it takes time. Some of the wiring looms takes half the time the other ones, but this is the deal, you know. But the way I'm doing it now I can make it, because kind of like it is nice and tidy, and also I can, like I said, I can check everything. Now this doesn't work because the ECU is not connected, nothing is connected now, because we're still working in the wiring room, but we're testing everything. I've got two check lights. One is for the reverse, because the reverse light works out of the engine management, because it's connected to the gearbox. So even your reverse light just works when you plug it in. Like I said, everything as factory. Then we have the oil pressure, the engine management light. I cannot have it here yet because that doesn't work just as a signal, not as normal signal on a normal bulb or gauge. It works different. I can still check it with the voltmeter or multimeter, whatever you want to call it, and yeah. So, and then on this we can check all the codes. Now usually we have about from 5 to 7 different codes, and these codes obviously when you finish your build, you go for mapping, for the refining mapping, they can be erased from the ECU and never come up again. But those codes that actually identify what's wrong with the wiring loom, if there is anything wrong, but usually these codes are for missing stuff that we actually don't use it, so that's all fine. And again, it helps me to see the correct communication between the ECU and each sensor, the map sensor, lamp dive is warming up, the VVT, crank sensor, camshaft sensor, temperature sensors, engine temperature sensor, both of them. So everything is verified if there is a correct communication between the ECU and the sensor. Sensors are brand new because we have to put them new, so we don't run into the risk of having a bad reading because of the bad sensor. So all we're verifying is the connectivity again between the ECU plugs and the sensors plugs, so we know the wires are healthy, the wiring system is working correctly. Only then is being sent to the customer. So to be honest, for the money, it has quite a lot of value. So yeah. Anyways, heads up, that's all I need to say. Signing off.